I'm anticipating the shipping container any minute. I've sliced the bejesus out of my thumb and trying to get some coffee and breakfast. It's just about noon. The driveway's icy, but it's warming, so hopefully he can get it down the driveway and at least into the dooryard, and if not, further down the lane, which is where I'd prefer it, because it means I have to drag it less with the excavator. I really don't know how this is going to work. I'm operating on total blind faith at this point. The weather has not been in our favor, but at least it's about to arrive. Well, it is here, and it's come in a different rig that I've seen before. We'll see how good a driver he is, if he can get it in here. Now that is slick. He can maneuver that thing side to side. That is fucking crazy.
So reefers kind of are not great on this trailer.
Yeah, a little bit too heavy.
So the flaps don't catch underneath, so you can't push them off.
Ah.
Say when.
Yeah, you got about 2 feet. Yeah, it's probably good right there. It's gonna pack into the shit pile. Well, they delivered the shipping container ass backwards, basically. I needed the refrigeration unit to be uphill in the final position, and it was going to be downhill if we'd done what I was originally going to do, which was to send the container straight back, pull it that way, and then turn around and pull it from the opposite end this way. Because it was loaded wrong, the guy was super nice and got it back farther than I expected, and was able to give it a little bit of a tilt, you know, turn around the corner just a little bit. It would have been better and easier if there hadn't been snow on the ground. He really could have done a great job, but he did an awesome job as it was, given the limitations in the snow. And that hydraulic trailer with all it extends forward and backwards, you can slide it side to side. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, so he got it back as far as he can. I'm just trying to nudge it around the corner so that I can close some gates, just in case the heifers get out. And I'm in the worst possible spot right now because I'm trying to navigate this manure pile. In fact, I think maybe I'll excavate some of the manure out. I did some, but I've come up against it. Limitations. I am able to move it a little bit by little bit, even with the manure pile in the way. So between shoving it down the slope with the skid steer and pulling it this way, I'm slowly navigating the corner. It doesn't help that there's a standpipe right there that I cannot hit or bend or damage. So this is taking forever, but I'm by myself and I probably won't get it much farther because it's getting late in the day. And I just want to be able to close a little bit of seesawing. I was able to get the container parallel to where we want to go. I had to get it past this rock and then get a little bit further that way. I am now away from the standpipe, thankfully. I do need to get it past the standpipe that way because I need to get the heifer some water. And that standpipe is what serves their container. But right now I gotta go get a different chain because I just broke a chain. The weakest link, of course, broke. Anyway, go see where I've got a logging chain I can use. Then it should start to get simpler, I hope. I have a tire kit to go on the far end of the trailer. We're just gonna see how much I can move it without that. I just want to get it out of the way for the moment. Okay, there's some chain up here. Well, I haven't filmed it because it's taken forever. It's probably been 2-3 hours moving this about 6 inches at a time to get it pivoted and around, and I finally got it onto the gravel pad, but the distance now that's left between the pad and the berm is the space that the excavator was taking up. I can't seem to get it any further this way. I've got the skid steer on the far end. I think tomorrow with some help, I might be able to do this by pushing with the skid steer and pulling with the excavator. Really, I need to be right here, but that's up quite a distance up high here, and I gotta swing around and move a bunch of crap out of the way if I do decide to do that. Now, the temperature's starting to drop rapidly, the wind's picking up, and tomorrow we've got a minus wind chill, and it's gonna be well below freezing. It's right around the freezing point right now, and it's gonna get into the single digits overnight. Picking some crap up out of the way. And so I'm not sure. I really don't want to leave this not move tonight because things could really freeze up overnight. The excavator tracks could, for one thing, because I don't have a good way of clearing them back here. I definitely got to get the skid steer tracks cleared tonight. I'm frozen. I haven't had lunch, so I want to get going with that. But it's right around 4 o'clock, and I think I started this just about noon, 12:30, something like that, noon 30. Anyway, I just need to get this another 10-15 feet. Maybe that's 20 feet, I don't know what. Anyway, it's got to be even with the back end needs to be a little bit past that old boiler. And I see that I'm almost out of diesel here as well. So let me see what I can do with this. I think I'm gonna have to call it for the night. I definitely need a second pair of hands. Well, we'll give it a shot. I got it this far. Really, I just need to get it this last little bit there to here. Interesting, there's enough moonlight for the front-facing camera to film me. Anyway, I'm out here taking care of chores. Power's gone out up at the house. In the moonlight, you can see the heifers down there having a drink. I'm just filling their trough. In fact, it's probably full enough. But yeah, full super moon up there, and it's windy as heck. So I'm just gonna blast through. I've taken care of the heifers. I gotta feed the cows next, bed them down. I gotta drain this hose though. And I gotta clean the tracks on the skid steer. Yeah, it's only 7 o'clock. Anyway, here we go. So I'm down here with the bulk tank compressor because it wasn't working. There's a little reset feature here that I only learned about last time this happened. I just hit it and it kicked to life, so we'll see what happens. Gonna seal this back up. It wasn't cooling this morning's milk. We'll see what happens when I get back up there. Seems to be running now. Took a couple of times. But today's been nothing but problems. It's been the first single digit. It was 0 to, or maybe even minus this morning when we woke up. The vacuum pump for the milking system failed. We had to work with the backup. Tracks on the skid steer were frozen. It hasn't been a good morning. First teething trouble of the cold temps, and we'll see what happens when I try and get the excavator started later and move that shipping container more close, because it needs to be right where the excavator's sitting right there, and straightened out a bit too, because it's awful wonky. Well, winter seems to have set in hard. Today's our second day of sub-freezing temperatures. A little bit warmer last night. It was in the teens. The night before was below 0 with a wind chill in the negatives. Last we met, I think, on this project anyway, was Thursday when the shipping container arrived. Yesterday, Friday, was way too cold. I don't think it broke. I guess it got up to 20 maybe, but it only briefly, and that was the high. It was in the single digits most of the day. So I didn't work out here. I didn't work on this, which means I didn't start the excavator, which means the batteries are totally flat now. I just tried starting it. Even the jump pack wouldn't get it fired. So I got the jump pack on charge. I'm going to put this on charge. Yesterday, I actually went and picked up some parts for the heating system. Now that the shipping container's here, figuring I can work on that this weekend and get ahead. The components for the heating system are theoretically going to be here Monday. Today's Saturday. Let's see here. It is. This is only 20 volts instead of 24, and this says 3 degrees Celsius. Anyway, let's set you up here somewhere. I gotta plug this in, get this charging. Yeah, we'll just put that on repair mode and let it pulse charge for as long as we can. So now, the next thing is, the other problem with yesterday was everything was breaking. Compressor for the bulk tank didn't kick on and operate as normal because it was so cold. The diaphragm pressure relief valve on the vacuum pump for the milking system failed. And so we had to go to the backup milking system and milk a few cows singly until I got a workaround. But that was a lot of back and forth to a part of the barn that's hard to get to, and working out in the bitter cold wind. The diesel pump stopped working when I was I forgot to grab the diesel can out of the back here. Diesel pump stopped working while I was trying to fuel. The skid steer tracks were iced over and wouldn't move. Yesterday was a bad day all the way around. You're probably better not seeing any of it, hearing any of my language, witnessing my tantrums. So I went to town and got a bunch of parts for the system, the chimneys and stuff. So I'm hoping that today, if I can get the excavator started, I can get the container in its final place. I don't know. I hope it's not frozen to the ground. That's the only thing there. So I've got to do that. I got to get this thing started. Oh, there's an extension cord out here. All right. So, but I also, right now, I'm going to get the diesel pump going because the excavator is out of diesel almost. Well, I don't know what's going on with the diesel pump. I put on a fresh battery and rewired it so that the wires weren't frayed, and nice, good, solid connection. Still won't turn on. I don't know if there's some ice jamming it or what. It was running yesterday. I pumped 8.5 gallons and then it just shut off and don't know what happened. So now I'm gonna have to wait till it warms up, I guess. I don't want to go tearing into it. A fresh battery, and it's a 12 volt because the idea had originally been I'd had clip leads on it so I could run it off the battery of the tractor, and this could be positioned anywhere. Because when we first got here, we didn't, A, we didn't know if we were staying, and B, we didn't know how everything was going to work out, where we would use stuff. And this wasn't actually here, it was down below for a long time, and I used to shuttle it back and forth, bring it up here when it was empty and have them fill it, and then I'd haul it back down there, and it was kind of a pain. And eventually just landed here and it stayed here, and it works really well for fueling stuff, but I still have the 12 volt pump because there's no other electricity here, and I figured I could run it off a solar panel at some point on a shed or something. But I don't know why that pump isn't working. Last time I tore into one of those pumps, I just ended up having to replace it. So I'm going to look up the cost of a new one, see if there's a warranty on this one, see what kind of repairs. I guess I better Google what, frozen pump, see what happens. But for now, I guess I'm scuppered. I'll have to go to town and buy some diesel. Allison's away at a market today with the car, so that's going to leave me doing it tomorrow. Fortunately, there's probably about an hour's use of diesel in the excavator. I would just hate running it so low. So that's why I was filling up the skid steer yesterday. It was below a half a tank. And in this cold weather, when the days are fluctuating, I don't like to... put these away. I don't like to have a less than half full tank because condensation can happen, water builds up in the diesel system, and then you end up with problems down the road. So I like to keep everything mostly topped up in the winter on days like this, especially where we're seeing some fluctuations. So I guess I have to wait and go to town tomorrow. Anyway, it's gonna be a while. The excavator gonna be a while on charge. The charge pack is still not fully charged. I grab my gloves and go feed the cows and go in and think about making some lunch early or something. Well, it's Saturday afternoon. I managed to get the excavator started. I couldn't start it at all yesterday. It was just too cold. I had to jump the battery and that didn't work. And then I had to charge the jump pack and charge this excavator. I left it on overnight. It struggled to start today. Got it firing, been running great. Unfortunately, I didn't film the genius moment of positioning the skid steer, walking it over so that it was parallel to the track, because I can't go back any farther. There's a bunch of junk here. And I luckily managed to yard the last 20 feet this way, and I just had to set it 8 feet over that way with chain. Now it's theoretically in position on this end. Now I got to get the excavator out of here and shove the other end. Really sorry I didn't get any of that caught on film. I just got going. I've been chomping at the bit about getting this moved, and the weather isn't being kind to me. Now I do have to shove it over at that end. It's much too close. It wants to be parallel to the building. This is the right distance here, so I'm hoping I can get down there and bump it over. I was hoping it'd be further over that way already, but I should have known better. Office to get a drone's eye view of the new container heating palace, heat shed. It's parallel theoretically within an inch or two to the barn. It's not, however, looking very parallel with this building, which was built after the fact and then I added on to it. So yeah, I don't know what it's gonna look a mess from above, but I like to line things up, but we set the shipping container out 25 feet from the barn so that we can put a milking parlor in between. Each that's gonna function for now until we can ever afford a milking parlor. So that's there should be plenty of room to work around the shipping container as we landscape and do stuff out there. Well, it is very early morning, pre-dawn. I got to take the two heifers into the processor this morning. I'm down here checking on the cows early and getting them fed. Just put out some silage for them. And beautiful morning, but it is bitter cold. It is well below freezing. And without our weather station working, I don't know exactly how much here, but it feels like it's got to be, you know, well below 20, 15 or so. It said 19 on the app. Feels colder than that. It is a beautiful starry morning, but I got to go plow snow because we got 4 inches of snow that we weren't expecting overnight. So, hop in Gidget and get the warming up now. I gotta get things plowed so I can get out of here and get to the processor. I'll have to leave a little early and allow extra time. The road that way is probably not going to be plowed too good. So as is typical of these days, I didn't get a chance to film some of the most important part. I had gotten ready to receive the heating system components and was going to set up a time-lapse camera and everything down here in the dooryard. But the guy showed up almost an hour early, which was great. And ours was the last order on the truck, and he was worried that once it was unloaded, he wouldn't have enough weight to get out of our driveway, given that we got 4 inches of snow overnight last night, and I had to plow it, and it was an icy mess, snowy, icy mess. So I had to unload him out here at the road, which is dicey at best. I did manage to get him backed off the main road onto our apron as far as possible, but it meant tight circumstances, and also we had traffic in and out of the driveway at the same time, so I was trying to unload the heating elements, 4 pallets of stuff, in less than ideal circumstances, so I didn't have a chance to film it. But that's, yeah, so what? You've seen people unload stuff with forks. Yeah, I mean, the tanks, the one like I'm just picked up, this is the last of the 4 pallets, bringing them back down to the dooryard. The tanks were on lengthwise, so we had to pull them out with a strap and then rotate them so that I could get them on, because they're put onto 2 pallets, and I don't have long enough forks to reach all the way through one pallet and halfway into another one, so I couldn't take them off lengthwise. I had to take them off narrow, the narrow width. So fortunately they're on 44-inch pallets, and it's a 3-foot tank, 8 foot long. So that's one of the thermal storage units. So the new heating system is comprised of 2 thermal storage tanks. So together there's 800 gallons. And I didn't realize there was a plug on the bottom, so I'm going to figure out about all the ports. And there's also, and what I hadn't did, oh, where's the one? Yeah, there's temperature probe ports. So I don't know if the boiler will actually read those or if I throw some thermometers in there. So 2 storage tanks, and then 2 domestic hot water heaters that use their indirect water heat. So the tank is full, super insulated and full of water, and then a coil of water passes through it, rated for something like 180 gallons an hour of hot temperature water, and then the boiler, which I'll have to unwrap and see. and all that's going in the shipping container. So I've got to get the shipping container level and get a stone ramp built, and then I can haul this stuff down. The boiler's going to go in first. The hot water heaters are going to go in next. These tanks will go in last, but I have to figure out how to stand them up and slide them in. Because I'm pretty sure there's not enough height, and I don't know, these things weigh a ton, so I don't know how to stand them up in there. I think I might be able to use the grapple for the round bales to grab these and pick them up and haul them, because I think they're probably the same weight as a bale, and they're pressure rated, so hopefully I won't crush them with the grapple. Also, I have to figure a way of strapping them into the trailer so they can't fall once they're full of thousands of pounds of water. Just going to drop that off here, and now I want to push hopefully this pallet into the pallet with so I want to push this pallet into the pallet with the boiler on it, and hopefully shove the pair of them a little deeper in. This doesn't seem to be working. This pallet's tearing apart down at the bottom end. Oh, there we go, I got a little bit more. Well, that's a little deeper in, so hopefully, let's see if I can unpack the water heaters and get them moved up, and then I want to unwrap and unpack the boiler and just check it out. These have traveled from Pennsylvania. I just want to make sure there's absolutely no damage. Yeah, I've received them. Yeah, the pallets and everything look great, but if there's something missing or something I got a big question of today, I want to get that called in. It's Monday today. Want to call it into the guy I bought it from, and just if there's any issue or anything. So let's go do that. So I got the 2 units, hot water units, uncrated and put over here. The idea with these is the tank is full of hot water, well insulated, and the cold water that you're using to heat is heated by passing through a heat exchange coil in there. Like I said, rated for 180 gallons an hour of super hot water. And so we need one to fuel the heat for the vat pasteurizer in the milk room, in the creamery. And then the other one is for hot water for the parlor and for the washroom, to wash dairy equipment with an automatic system. You need 170 degree water. So that's why we're doing the boiler and a separate one of these units just for the, we'll have to mix down the water to 170 and shoot it in there. The other one we're gonna set for 190 degrees and see what, we'll have to play around to see what temperature water will run the pasteurizer. So that's the hot water units. They're probably the simplest part of the whole system, although they do each require a pump. and a circuit for that. Now I want to uncover the boiler and unpack it. I've already taken the instruction manual out of the boiler because I at first thought I was going to leave these out in the dooryard, and then I just decided, you know what, these things cost a lot of money, and these 3 components are some of the most sensitive parts of the system. Certainly the processor on top of the boiler is delicate, and I can't afford to screw that up. So let's get them out of the weather, because last night we had 4 inches of snow that wasn't necessarily all predicted. It was supposed to be flurries the last time I checked anyway. So we don't want these things getting snowed on. Now, I'm really appreciative Jeff, the guy I bought these from, had wrapped these super well. So that's fantastic. Pallet. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get that onto the floor and skid it back. It is wicked heavy. May have to place this with the skid steer. So this is an Affecta Smart 55. It is a Swedish boiler. Here, that packaging gouged the concrete on the door, damn it. So Eco Smart, Eco was my last boiler. Affecta Smart 55, it's 188,000 BTU an hour gasification wood boiler. Wood goes in here, gasification happens down there. It's got a lambda oxygen sensor at the back to measure flue gas, and it automates these damper controls to get the most efficient burn possible. And the good news, bad news is, that's the burn chamber. These are super efficient boilers, super easy to use, great for exactly what we want to do with it. This boiler was certified in 2017 and hasn't been, it's brand new, but it was from 2017. They still make these in Sweden. They still use them all over the place. They're not as common here in the States. I got a hell of a deal on this. I was gonna get a Froling S3, the big one, but this was less than half the price. So, and every bit is good. So the next step is I gotta get the chimney in, measure up for the parts and pieces. I've gotta check the fittings necessary for the storage system, figure out the water comes out, hot water comes out here, comes in there. This is part of a cooling emergency system that I've gotta read about. Get the chimney pipe that matches here. I think the one of those down there is a drain valve, the other is the inlet for the cold water coming into the boiler, return water. So I gotta get this set back in that corner once we get the chimney mapped out and where that goes. Get this set. Then I can figure out where the storage tanks go, the hot water units go, probably next to it along the back wall. And then the hot water storage tanks will be somewhere on the side wall. Thermal storage, and then everything will go out of the shipping container up into the building.